Hello and welcome to a new video that's covering the upcoming changes in version 5.3 of the SWADE rule set. These changes will shortly be available in test and obviously later on in live. Most of the functionality is based around the tweaks to the combat tracker. When I open it up, you may notice it looks subtly different. The group button's gone and other things have been tweaked. The bennies have been moved from the right hand side over. Mostly minor cosmetic changes. Big change really to begin with is the fact that in the old days when you dragged an NPC onto the combat tracker, it would be a linked version back to the NPC or character you dragged on. If I opened up this orc here, it would be locked, and if you'd open up this orc here, historically it would also be locked. But what happens now is when you drag an NPC onto the combat tracker, it creates a copy. And it's completely editable. Even if the original module's locked, your copy on the combat tracker is editable. So if we go over here, we can see he's currently equipped with a scimitar. We come over to items. Let's give him a ranged weapon. So let's give him an AK-47. Now, yes, I can still just drag it onto there that way, but if we come over here, you can see it's updated this NPC here. And likewise, I can also give him, let's give him a Glock as well, we'll give him a 9mm Glock. If I drop it on here, you can see it's added it over there. But if I go back to the NPC and add him again, this orc will not have extra equipment. If you drag characters onto the combat track, I've only got Bob, they are not copies, they are linked back to the original. Likewise, if we give Bob an ally, we'll give him a, let's give him a, well, he's got a small cat as an ally. Likewise, when you drag allies on, they again are linked. Without the group button here, obviously the question you may be wondering is how do you create groups? So what you do is you can take the small cat and you drag it and drop it on the card, and now you can see that the cat is an ally from Bob. Likewise, if I take Orc 3 and I drop him on the card, now there's a group of these two orcs, and you can see that Orc 3 only has a scimitar, but Orc 2 has the extra weaponry from behind. What you might have noticed is the folding and unfolding has gone away. This is basically performance issues. The code that was in there was very old and was unnecessarily slowing down the combat tracker, so unfortunately they don't compress anymore, so the combat list might get quite long, but it is quicker and adding NPCs should be faster. So maybe here I don't want to keep dragging orcs in, so then I'll give him an AK-47 and then I'll give him a 9mm pistol. Actually, I'll give him an Uzi 9mm instead. We can do some interesting things. So if we open up the edit list, you can see lots of extra little icons appear. There's an add button under each one, which will add another one of that character to the group. So if I go and click on the add for Orc 3, we get Orc 5 added, and you can see Orc 5's only got a scimitar. But if I click on the add for Orc 2, what you get is an orc with an AK-47 and a Glock and a scimitar. Likewise, removing them is no different than before. When they become incapacitated, you can delete them anyway, and that button will be there even if you're not in edit mode, and you can just delete them as per usual. And if you just want to create a load, as I say, you just want to create a load, you just click add and keep adding them. Now, say for argument's sake, the party somehow managed to make Orc 5 an ally. Who knows, maybe they cast charm on him or the puppet power, depending on the setting, but all of a sudden Orc 5 is now on the party side, and therefore you might not still want him in the group. Now in the old days what you had to do was you try and drag him out, and that was getting a little more flaky and it was getting a bit funky, and it was getting quite interesting, especially if the combat tracker was full. Getting them out was a bit tricky. So what you've got now is you've got this button here to ungroup the item. So as you can see up the top here, you've got ungroup, and then you've got an ungroup item. So if we click on ungroup, Orc 5 is dropped out onto his own. Likewise, if we add a few more orcs in over here, if we click ungroup, as you can see, it took a while, but it's actually ungrouped all of them. A couple of more things. If you want to make an orc a wild card, you can literally just click now on the combat tracker. Likewise, if you want to make all the orcs in a group wild cards or not wild cards, if you hold down Alt and click, and it doesn't have to be the top one, so if you hold down Alt and click, they all change in the group. Likewise, you can do that with their factions. So if you hold down Alt, it will affect everything in the group. The option for the host controlling the combat tracker has been taken away. So from now on, players will need to open the combat tracker themselves by clicking the combat tracker button. Finally, the last change is quite a small one, but a requested feature was the ability to set animal intelligence on a character sheet. This is now possible in 5.3. I hope you found this useful. Any questions, as always, drop them on the Savage Worlds channel on Discord, or questions in comments, or just find me on Fantasy Grounds forums and drop me a line there. Thank you very much.